Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Multi-Location Marketing Leader. I'm Erin Martin, and this episode is brought to you by Netsertive, a marketing partner who can help you run better, localized marketing programs. Today, our guest is Karen Forrest. She's the VP of Marketing at JanPro Systems International, who's a commercial cleaning franchise and was recently named number 34 on Entrepreneur's Franchise 500 list. So, Karen, thanks for joining me today and congrats on another year of a high ranking.
Thank you, Erin. And thank you so much for the invitation to join you on the podcast to talk marketing. It's definitely one of my favorite subjects. So I'm really looking forward to the conversation today.
Love it. And just to kick us off, and I think to orient our listeners, can you talk a little bit more about JanPro and how you guys are set up? And then a little bit more about your
Sure.
role at JanPro.
Yeah, absolutely. The Janpro system consists of a three-tier model or three brands, all representing very different purposes across the ecosystem. So Janpro Systems International represents what we call the parent franchisor. And we are responsible for selling regional franchise developer licenses and providing overall brand standards and system design for the ecosystem. The key focus for us really is on providing support services to regional franchise developers. The middle tier for us, or the second brand, is JanPro Franchise Development. They represent really the regional franchise developer, and they are responsible for selling unit franchisees in exclusive territories who actually provide the commercial cleaning services, right? So our JanPro regional developers provide sales, marketing, accounting services, and business support, as well as coaching to those unit franchisees so that they in turn can become successful business owners themselves. JanPro Cleaning and Disinfecting represents the unit franchisees, and they are the ones actually delivering the commercial cleaning services to commercial businesses smaller than 50,000 square feet out in the industry. They own and manage their own customers. And of course, we provide them with the certification and the tools to be successful business owners. So for me, you asked
Awesome.
about my role. My team and I spend the majority of our time really focused on the JanPro Cleaning and Disinfecting brand to support our regional developers with marketing strategies, assets, and tools that help drive lead generation and aid brand recognition. So we are very, very much focused on turnkey material to drive lead generation.
Awesome. And yeah, that's a lot of different stakeholders and I think things to tackle within your realm. And I believe you've been there about a year now. Is that correct?
Well, time flies when you're having fun, Erin. I've actually been with the company 2 years, permanently 18 months.
Okay, awesome. So I was curious when you first started, what were the challenges and opportunities that you walked into? It's always interesting to hear when, there's a new role, new company you're joining. Like, what did you kind of focus on from a marketing perspective when you first joined?
That is such a loaded question, Erin. So I think, when I first joined the organization, our key focus was really to try and understand what tools, platforms, marketing assets is really going to help support the regional developers in acquiring both unit franchisees, but also going out there and acquiring accounts on those franchisees' behalf. So over the last, I want to say 2 years, a huge focus for us has been on our search engine optimization and website optimization. It's a crucial and fundamental part of our funnel, and making sure that we have that in the right place to bring leads in through to the system was vitally important. We also really wanted to start leaning in and supporting the regional franchise owners with more comprehensive and consistent campaign assets. So you may have noticed over the last couple of years, we've launched 2 key campaigns a year. The most recent one, which we are incredibly proud of, is, our Jan Protected campaign. This is customer focused, right? Staying Jan Protected in this changing environment. And our other campaign focusing on unit franchise acquisition is the Jan Professional campaign, right? Our certified business owners are more than just commercial cleaning companies. They are Jan professionals and they deliver a very professional service to customers requiring commercial cleaning. In addition to the campaigns and the website, my team is also really, really focused on ensuring that we provide specific support to our franchisees. Anyone working in the franchise environment will know there's specific needs for each location, and each location may have different requirements. So, as much as possible, we provide specific assets to those locations that may need something a little different, whether that's billboard designs, or whether it is radio scripts, or whether it's leaning in and supporting them with their own TV campaigns. So, we are, as a marketing team, I often say, we're generalists because we have to be. And we really are there to provide team support to the regional developers on the ground.
Nice. And then from the website perspective, what did that look like? What was that initiative that you guys undertook to improve that? Curious of the specifics or if you have some examples of what you did.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we launched a new website prior to me joining the organization in September 2020. And so, having joined in January 2021, that website was only really about 3 months old. So, pretty new. And as with any new website and a new ecosystem that you get out there, there's a lot of work that needs to go behind search engine optimization as well as website optimization. So in the early days, we really leaned into CROW, right? Conversion rate optimization testing, to ensure that the information that we put on the website is resonating with our audience, provides the relevant and right information, and really focuses on ushering them down that funnel to complete that lead form. It's, any marketer will tell you that it's never a one and done. You constantly have to keep focusing on where you provide the right information. And of course, being in the commercial cleaning industry, with all of the pandemic hitting and COVID-19 and the landscape changing so quickly, there is constant focus for us to ensure that we provide the right information, the most up-to-date information, and really bring to life the commercial services that we can provide to help protect customers, their employees, and their businesses, as we continue to see the pandemic increase, decrease, shift, and change across the landscape.
Nice. And with that project, I'm curious, what was one of the changes that you think you had the most impact? And the reason I ask is because I think a lot of people, they'll launch a website, maybe they won't test different homepages. Like there's a lot of different things that you can do when it comes to website and SEO stuff. And so what worked for you guys in that revamp and initiative?
Well, I think very early on in the early days, certainly the one piece that worked for us extremely well was very quickly after the pandemic hit, we stuck up a blue banner right at the top of our website and we gave people information that they were looking for. We had very clear links, to the CDC so that people could get updates. And we also provided very clear overviews of how our commercial cleaning services can go and protect or help protect their business environment. We have proprietary systems like our EnviroShield system, as well as our EnviroShield with Endure system. And we really started focusing on letting the audience know exactly how those two systems can work together to help defend and protect against what we're seeing out in the world. So that was really certainly a quick win for us. I also think the other wins that we've had is really having a very customer focused website. So if you go to our website, jan-pro.com today, you will see we have clear navigation at the top in terms of who we clean, because of course, we clean a multitude of industries. So really trying to get our navigation straightforward, customer focused, easy to find the information. So that I think would be the second one. And then third is constant testing, conversion rate optimization testing behind our lead forms, right? It's always that balance between asking the right information, but not asking too much information so that customers feel confident that they're giving you what you need to get back to them, but not so much that they feel overwhelmed with the amount of field that they need to complete. So those, I would say, would probably be the three key things that we implemented that's helped us get ahead of the game.
Nice. That's awesome. And also just wondering, like right now for you guys, what are some other, digital tactics or marketing tactics in general that you feel like's really working for you guys, whether it's on the consumer side or Fran Dev efforts?
So I think definitely on the consumer side, we've recently worked with an organization called Promo Republic. They have a very unique social media and review management hub, which is similar but also different to the likes of Hootsuite and Loomly and any of those platforms that we used to. So in October last year, we launched through Promo Republic our new Jan Pro social media and review hub. And that's really exciting for us because we now have the ability to go out there and post organic social media on behalf of our regional developers. But they also at the same time have the opportunity to continue to build their own organic social presence. We've seen huge traction with engagement, just by using a tool such as this. And it's not something that our network have had access to in the past. So I know a lot of franchise organizations out there probably already uses these kinds of tools. But for us, that was really a game changer when it came to the unit franchise acquisition component. I think from a customer perspective, I think, continuing to support our regional developers with the right assets to go out there and acquire those customer acquisition pieces is critical. One of the key things that we're doing some test and learning on is video sales letters. So again, being able to use a direct marketing, I'm going to call it a direct marketing component where you're able to get your information in an easy to digest, easy to listen and understand format. We're very excited to start testing and learning around that as well to see how that leads to increased bookings as well as conversion of business.
Awesome. And yeah, I'm curious how you guys use video, if at all, in some of your strategy. I think storytelling, it sounds like, is something that's passionate to your heart, and being able to enable these really cool campaigns that you guys have launched in the past few years. How do you guys think about video, whether it's, you know, OTT and CTV or like simple ways of communicating that message? Like, how do you guys, if you do use video at all, or how do you think about that?
Yeah, and and then Erin, you touched on something for me right now, which is, storytelling. So storytelling for me is such an important component of what we as marketers do out there. And marketing really, as you probably know, is rooted in telling the stories that help change people's lives, And if you tell that story consistently and you tell it extremely well, you can really help to trigger that emotional response that in a lot of instances ends up ensuring that you have a connection that lasts a lifetime. So, how we bring stories to life in the video context, but also in our marketing context, is really, really important for us. So, as we think through video and what we make accessible to our network, we work slightly differently, I guess, as probably some franchise organizations or networks do today. My team and I will produce the assets at a central level, but our owners, our regional developer owners, are really responsible for executing the marketing strategies in their own specific location. So my team and I will help them set out their strategies. We will help provide the assets and so forth. So when it comes to video, it really depends location by location. We typically use our videos across, of course, our website. It's a critical component for how we bring our audience in and share information with them visually and quickly. We also do, for some of the locations, they do use OTT. They also will use them in VSL, so video sales letters. They will use them in ongoing communications with their customers, right? These days, with technology the way that it is, and the ability to record your own introduction or record your own message that you would want to send to a specific customer, as an example, have come along so far, that we see innovative ideas. I think as video and animated content also starts popping more and more in the social media environment, we constantly see an evolution in that. So video for us is becoming an integral part in our asset development and also ensuring that our owners have direct access to it to use it in any way and format that they want to for their local marketing strategies.
That's awesome. And yeah, I'm curious, how do you guys produce your videos then at the corporate level? It seems like you mentioned, there's so many different ways and tools out there to be able to easily do it today that there's not really a right or wrong way. And I also dig into video because it's funny. It feels like videos like having this moment when really it's been such a tried and true medium for so many years for powerful storytelling that it's like, all right, video has never gone away. It never will go away. It might, the medium and format might change. It might be a 30-second CTV asset or, a 5-second TikTok clip or whatever, the new medium du jour of the day is. But at its core, it has just always been so powerful. So I'm curious how you guys produce that content at the corporate level to be able to use in marketing.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting observation as well, Ellen. As you quite rightly say, video has been around for many, many years. I think what has created this resurgence and focus on it is because now more than ever before, it's easier to produce videos, right? Back in the day, you needed to bring in a video production company. You needed to have an art director and a script writer, and it became this massive and costly production exercise. I think today, in today's world, with all the platforms out there, it's just so much easier to produce videos. If you think about the TikToks and the Instagrams, the ability to just write your own script, say what you want to say, and get it produced in the shortest amount of time possible with not huge budgets, I think has created a lot of this resurgence that we're seeing. For us, we still use a combination of traditional methods as well as some of the newer methods. So when we look at producing a brand video, we would typically use a brand agency and work very closely with our agency of record to help us do that production. When it comes to a lot of our video production, we also will, for example, change out the in frame as an example for all of our locations. And there we will work with an in-house producer, right, who will have the ability to do some of those minor tweaks and changes for us very cost and time efficiently. And then we also have, for animated content, we have an in-house shared services creative team that we will lean in to help us produce what we need on a constant and regular basis.
Nice. That sounds like a pretty good resource bank to pull from then, from the, really good looking commercial video all the way down to, localizing it for individual locations and then also being able to create stuff as you need. I know our team here, one tool we love is Descript in that it can upload a video. It translates the whole video to a script that you can then edit the words or like cut out sections and it will automatically do the video editing based off of the word editing that you're doing in parallel, which is crazy. It's like such a amazing time saver. It cuts extra words out. The amount of tools that are out there is really cool. And I think it's a
That
fun
sounds
time to be a marketer
fabulous.
because I was gonna say it's definitely not on the front end of like being able to produce the good looking video asset, but if you have like a customer testimonial or just like an internal video that you want to cut and use as a sizzle reel, like it makes editing of videos really easy for small marketing teams, which is pretty cool.
I definitely need to look into
And I'm
that.
also
My team and I have this approach of, a growth mindset and lifelong learning, so these kinds of things is definitely what I try and get in front of them as well. To say, here's a new way to think about getting stuff out there faster, more effectively, and cost efficiently.
Yeah, which is always that fine balance between like spending too much time on a shiny WYSIWYG that might not actually have impact and then figuring out what the tools are that actually help with impact. So with that in mind too,
True.
I'm wondering, is there anything else you think marketers need to be aware of right now or trends to be top of mind and on top of?
Yeah, Erin, I think, and we've spoken a little bit about this offline, I think whilst not necessarily a trend, I think one of the biggest things and changes that we in the marketing landscape will see this year is, of course, the rollout of Google Analytics 4. And so while big corporations and marketing have marketing staff and agencies and technical teams to focus on this, I think when it comes to small marketing teams and small businesses or even franchise organizations, this is definitely something that we need to start focusing on and getting prepared for later this year. So, a little bit, I think, just to give you an overview, if you don't know, if anyone out there doesn't know what Google Analytics 4 is, or what it's going to mean for them, let me take a couple of minutes just to quickly summarize what's going on with Google Analytics 4. So basically, after 18 years, Erin, the sun is going to be setting on Universal Analytics, or UA as we know it. And that's going to happen, as we understand it from Google today, in July 2023. So UA, in essence, is going to become obsolete, and marketers everywhere will be forced to upgrade to Google Analytics 4. Now, why is this important? Or you may ask, so why would Google sunset UA after so many years and with so many people still using it? Well, the thing is that there wasn't anything wrong with UA, but Google is also, of course, continuing to evolve its analytics to take account of the changes in data privacy. And that's both from a legal and societal perspective, right? So we know with data protection laws like GDPR out there in the world, it has a significant impact on how the online advertising industry continues to look at the use of data, the analytics behind data, and also the stringent requirements around gathering and using cookies to provide insights into specific marketing opportunities. But now, of course, browsers are also starting to deprecate third-party cookies. So as with Firefox, Safari, Google is following suit with keeping up with these changes, which will result in cookieless analytics interfaces and platforms. So GA4 will rely instead on other signals. So for example, IP addresses, device and unique browser IDs, and even location data from Google Maps to give us the analytics that we need moving forward to make marketing decisions. So why is this important for a marketer to know? For us on the ground who don't have large tech teams or marketing teams to help navigate this landscape, really understanding the impact that GA4 is going to have on us and how we're going to have to take a look at that data to make marketing decisions in the future is a crucial component in getting ready for when this thing rolls out in July. So the biggest thing I think that marketers probably need to be aware of is we need to be able to compare previous data with how Google Analytics 4 is going to be presenting data. Otherwise, we're not going to have any benchmarks, right? We're not going to be able to understand whether our campaigns are working, whether our insights are still valid, or how we use the information to really start informing our marketing decisions. And so, for example, on the ground, what does this mean? So under Universal Analytics, or UA, sessions, as an example, were recorded as a period of time that a user is actively engaging with your website or your app. So any new session would begin after a timeout period at a midnight hour, or when you've made a change to a specific campaign, as an example. But under GA4, the new session start event, which is what it's called, it's actually called a session start event, that will generate a ID or a session ID for a specific user. So GA4 will then associate that session ID with each subsequent event in that session. Now, a session is going to end after 30 minutes of inactivity, and they're not restarted at midnight or when a new campaign parameter is encountered. So how you then compare how your campaigns, performed before to once GA4 is rolling out is going to be hugely different. And that's going to have a huge impact on how we decide what campaigns we move forward with, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was such a good recap and overview of what's happening with GA4. I'm going to have to like bookmark this one and save it. I love it. And yeah, that's why if this is, the timeline is end of July, like people need to be on this now if they're not already so they can run the two instances in parallel and be able to, like you said, track those two things. So I know like number one step, if you haven't already, which I've talked to a few marketers and it sounds like for the most part, I think it's on people's radar. But if you haven't kicked off a property, like definitely need to do that to be able to compare those apples to oranges situation that's going to be happening moving forward. And so I'm curious from your guys' experiences of diving in and doing this, do you have any tips for marketers if they haven't jumped in and set up their GA4 property or other things to be aware of as they kind of launch this new analytics?
Yeah, Erin, I think if there's still any marketers out there who haven't even started delving into GA4, my first step would be get on top of it and get on top of it really quickly, right? Understand what is required, understand what it's going to mean for your business, and get prepared behind the scenes. What does it mean for your business? How is it going to impact your analytics? You need to prepare for it before July 2023's rollout. Make sure you've taken the necessary step to set up Google Analytics 4. It's a very, very different process from Universal Analytics. And you're not going to just be able to switch over from UA to GA4 because, as I mentioned earlier, the entire data model has changed, right? So you're going to have to get ready with setting it up and then ensuring that you're migrating things over in the right way. So if you don't have an agency that's supporting you, this can be a very, very daunting exercise for any marketer out there. So I think, as you think about getting started, considering your account structure, I think is a crucial component. Ensuring that you create a Google Analytics 4 property, if you haven't done that yet, get on it and get it set up. Work through what your data streams are going to have to be. How do you want to enable data collection? Activate your Google signals, make sure that you're getting ready for it behind the scenes. And also make sure that you link any of your campaigns or your Google ads to your GA4 account. It's going to be a crucial, crucial component of how we measure traffic, how we measure performance moving forward. And then I think, if you're unclear, there are a lot of resources out there. Google has put a lot of resources and a lot of information out there. Just making sure you understand what it's going to take. Because chances are that when they roll out Google Analytics 4, as I mentioned, Universal Analytics will go away. So don't be caught unawares either. Make sure that you have snapshots of your learnings. Make sure that you have your data tables downloaded so that if you do want to compare in the future, you've got access to some of those previous learnings to be able to inform your campaigns moving forward.
Yeah, those are really good tips. And I do think it is a good forcing function to almost audit, like you said, all of the data streams. I mean, if you have Google Tag Manager, you have to set, GA4 up in Tag Manager. Like there's so many things that can integrate with your analytics systems that it's like, all right, audit time. Time to overhaul and see what's working, what's not, get it cleaned up a little bit as you hopefully make the transition and all of that kind of stuff. Was there a major or what was the biggest kind of roadblock or speed bump, I should say, not roadblock, but hurdle that you guys had to work with when implementing GA4? Was there anything that kind of tripped you guys up or challenges to be aware of?
Do you know what, Erin? I would say for us, it wasn't really a challenge, but I think something that we spent a lot of time and effort focusing on is ensuring that our GTM containers on our website were set up in a very clear, structured, standard approach,
Mhm.
right? We
Manager.
support 94 different locations, with over, I don't know how many, 7,000 website pages at the end of the day. And so ensuring that we're able to track everything consistently was a crucial component for us. So as we started thinking around, rolling out and getting ready for GA4, making sure that our tracking methodology, making sure that our resource and campaign ID sources and that methodology was as robust and as comprehensive, clear and consistent as possible is probably an area that we focus on for the last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, that's good. Awesome. Well, thanks for that recap. That was a good breakdown. And I do have a few more
You're welcome.
questions for you before we close out our time. And before I move on, and kind of switching gears, there is one story that I would love to get your context on that I know you were a part and led the launch of one of the world's biggest loyalty programs globally when you were with Intercontinental Hotels Group. So I would just love to hear more a little bit about that story, the initiative. I mean, that's one of those huge lifetime experiences I think that, not all marketers have done. And so would love to hear what that was all about, what you did, kind of share a little more on that.
Wow, Erin. So, it's definitely a project that I'm personally for my career incredibly proud of. So the effort started back in 2012, believe it or not. So at IHG or Intercontinental Hotels Group, whilst they had one of the world's biggest customer facing loyalty programs in IHG Rewards Club, or I think it's IHG Rewards One now, they didn't have as global a business loyalty program. So I had the privilege of working with a group of people across the organization to bring to life IHG Business Rewards, which was their global, and it still is, their global loyalty program specifically focused on meeting planners, and those who book rooms, meetings, and events on behalf of others. And so what we did is
Mm.
the project encompassed taking four disparate programs across the world, bringing that into one global program and launching that with internal resources. So it's built on an internal loyalty platform, working with over 3,500 hotels at that time to bring it to life in the organization or across the world. So it was an incredible project to work on. It, encompassed the setting up and scoping out of the business requirements, working with a steering committee to identify the opportunities and what we wanted this loyalty program to be like and look like. And then, of course, setting out the launch strategies, the go to market strategies, building the assets, building the websites, building the program. And we launched that successfully on April 1 in 2015. And I'm delighted to say, it was off to an incredibly good start. And within the first 18 months, we successfully rolled it out across all 3,500 properties IHG had at that time. And it continues to be used today as the preferred business loyalty program for IHG for meeting planners and event planners across the world.
That's awesome. And so, like, if you had to break down the pillars, the main pillars of what made this successful from the marketing perspective, what would those be? And when I ask that, my brain goes towards the messaging piece of understanding the benefits of the program, crafting. I don't know if you were a part of helping craft the program. And then, of course, like that communication piece of the rolling it out and making sure that everyone's aware of this and just the internal stakeholders are aligned on how we speak about it. Like there's so many different components. So if you had to simplify that down and name a few of those crux key pillars to launching a great loyalty program, what would they be?
Yeah, I think so. We had multiple work streams or verticals, as we called them, right? The first was the designing and the building of the program itself. So, really understanding the business requirements, really understanding what you're trying to achieve with the program, and how any loyalty program such as this is going to bring value to the customers, right? There's two components. It's how the end user is going to be perceiving it and what the benefits are to them, and how easy is it going to be able to be implemented and used by the organization themselves. So that was certainly a crucial vertical for us, is the designing the program and then of course building it in a way that it would be successful. The second component or work stream was all focused on how are we going to train the end user. So the hotels, right? The hotels need to be able to know how to use it, how to sell it, how to bring it to the forefront of any meeting planner or event planner that they are working with, and ensuring that they have the tools, the platforms to really come to grips with this new loyalty program quickly, effectively, and efficiently was another critical vertical for us. The third component, of course, was the go to market strategy. How are we going to deliver this not only to our customers out there or the IHG meeting planner or event planner that is looking to host an event or a meeting with an IHG property, but more importantly, how are we going to be ensuring that the hotel properties are also aware of it, right? If a business rewards member is phoning up to book an event or a meeting, how do we ensure that the hotel is aware? that this meeting planner may be asking for business rewards points. So I think across the entire project, there was probably around 12 or 15 different work streams. In South Africa, where I'm
Wow.
from, we have a saying, it takes a village to raise a child. And I will tell you, it took multiple people, multiple stakeholders across 4 different regions, to help us navigate and ensure that we roll the program out in a consistent manner. And also, we couldn't phase the rollout, right? Once that program went live, we needed to have all systems switched on, all hotels on board, trained, ready to start using it before we even got it out to customers.
Yeah, that's a project at another level of scale that I don't think a lot of marketers have had the opportunity to dig into. And I'm curious on the program development side, when you're talking about that work stream, what research or inputs, qualitative or quantitative, did you guys gather to help craft that? I'm curious what you used to inform those pieces.
Erin, I was incredibly fortunate. We partnered as an organization with an agency called Concise, based out in London in the United Kingdom. They're part of the Iris group. And so they worked extremely closely with us. We did a lot of research, globally, because we were working across 4 different regions. Customers, cultures are so varied and so different. So we did a lot of research behind the scenes. Of course, there were also 4 programs that were running at the time. So we also ensured that we didn't just survey potential new customers, but existing customers of those existing programs. We really needed to get under the skin of what they liked about their existing programs, what they didn't like, what they were looking for in a global loyalty proposition. We surveyed, of course, across multiple industries, because when you go into the event and meeting space, understanding what businesses would look for, right? How would businesses feel
Mhm.
about a loyalty program where they have the ability to earn points and use those points potentially for future meetings or even hotel accommodation rooms, right? So we did innumerable amounts of research. We also researched hotels, because we needed to understand how the sales teams at the hotel property level, what are they looking for in a loyalty program? How do they want to use the tool to help drive business growth and future loyalty with existing customers? And then, of course, we also had to survey existing stakeholders across the organization. With so many different brands in the IHG portfolio, it was really, really important to ensure that we had our stakeholder input feedback, as well as we started just identifying what our business requirements could or should look like.
Yeah. What was one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome? Like, was there a point in time where you were like, "Oh crap, this might not happen on deadline," or like at all? Like, what was the one thing that you guys overcame where you were like, "Oh no, this might be a showstopper"?
Erin, you've just brought so many memories back, but I think that
You're
for
like, "I have
us, believe it or
PTSD."
not, believe it or not, it was something so small that almost was a showstopper for us. I remember this vividly. I think 2 days before we went live on the 1st of April 2015, one of the biggest showstoppers for us was that the email platform that we were using to send out thank you emails when a member, of course, joins the program, the company that we were using fell behind schedule. There wasn't transparency. And of course, you can't switch on a loyalty program if people are going to join and you're not going to send them a confirmation or a thank you email to say, yes, you've joined and here's your membership number. So believe it or not,
Yeah.
it wasn't the big stuff. The big stuff came together as we planned and expected. But that thank you email and not having the ability to send out that confirmation thank you email, yeah, that probably almost stopped us.
Oh man. Well, that's awesome. That's such a cool project and initiative to be a part of. All right, and I've got one last question for you before we close out. This question I ask everybody. So I'm wondering, what does being a great marketing leader mean to you?
Excellent question. And I think for me, being a great marketing leader, Erin, really means inspiring my team to be great. Building trust and providing encouragement that they need to be great marketing leaders themselves. I think it's a huge component of what we as marketing leaders need to ensure that we set our teams up for success. So I've had this saying for many, many years, and I truly believe it. One team, one dream, nothing is impossible. By working together, by supporting and trusting each other, I think my team and I have continued to build strong relationships. And over the years, I've built strong marketing teams that's really focused on delivering what our owners need to grow their businesses. So I think I mentioned this earlier in the conversation, but I encourage my team into key areas. One is to always have a growth mindset. And the second is to have a lifelong learning approach. The marketing landscape continues to shift and change so quickly and at such an incredible pace. And staying on top of trends by having a mindset that you will, encourage yourself to continue to learn every day and grow every day is a critical component to any marketing person's approach today. I think also having a team player spirit, a huge component for me. For me, being a team player matters, right? Knowing that you're in it together is one thing, but actually operating as a collaborative, cohesive team is truly what makes the difference. Developing trust is so central to this. So, in my current team, we really work hard to foster and develop trust. And we do that in three different ways. The first is as a group organization, we are really focusing on delivering real results, right? A lot of our time is spent on ensuring the tactics we're focusing on supports our business owners for growth. We work hard to ensure that we're as efficient as possible and eliminate as much as we can what I call busy work, right? Because busy work can be such a distraction. And then through all of it, we do try and have a lot of fun. I think the second component is, we work hard to ensure that we close the feedback loop as a team. If things don't go as planned, we discuss it openly and we work together to find a solution or a better way. And if things go as planned and fabulously well, we take time out to celebrate. We take time out to say thank you and good job. And then I think the third component is we work really hard to remove barriers to risk taking. I think for me, I've always said marketing isn't a science, right? It isn't if I do this, I know it's going to be successful. A lot of it requires a flexible approach. And I always try and allow my team or give my team the implicit permission to say it's okay to learn without being afraid of making a mistake, right? We all have to be comfortable taking risks out there. And as long as we know that when something doesn't go as planned, we have the ability to learn from it, to make it better, to adapt from it, or in some instances, make the decision to disregard it for the future. I think that allows teams to take risks and not have these barriers that will hold them back in their careers. So I think as a leader, I've always encouraged my team to do all of those things and just be great leaders themselves.
I love that. And yeah, it's like if you're not uncomfortable, if you're not scared doing new things part of the time, like you're not pushing yourself, you're not going to get out there and grow. So I love all that and I love especially what you said about one team, one dream, everything's possible. I think that's a great thing to remember as we're kind of kicking off the new year. And Karen, thank you so much for joining. It was so awesome to have you on. I'm excited to hopefully meet you in person again at IFA. Are you going to be there?
Oh, no, not this year. It kind of overlaps with
Oh,
our annual
shucks.
incentive trip, Erin. So, but this has been
Yeah,
absolutely
that's what I
fabulous.
wanted.
As I said to you at the beginning, I love talking marketing. So I could spend the entire afternoon just talking to you about marketing.
I love it. Well, we'll have to check back in after July. Maybe we can have you back on and we can talk about GA4 some more and how it shakes out with the apples to oranges down the line.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Karen.